Hi everybody, this is Carol Sherwood. I want to share some information with you about Teresa Halbach's RAV4, particularly as it relates to the color. There are a lot of pieces of information that swirl around in this discussion group, as well as a lot of others, that is completely misunderstood. And people need to understand this. And part of it is information that Annie and I have confirmed with Toyota, okay? So as it relates to the car that Teresa bought, she bought a 1999 RAV4 base model. It did have some add-ons that were added on when it came into port into the United States. Back in 99, when it first came over from Japan, okay? Whether or not those add-ons were still there or more added to it, we don't know. We just know that when she bought it in 2003, it was a 4-year-old car that had been a lease car through a dealership up in Iowa. That's fact. That is proven. And I've even spoken with the dealership in Iowa and confirmed that's where it was prior to having been sold at auction in March of 2003 to Lemieux, who turned around within a month, and Teresa bought it from Lemieux in April 2003. Okay, so that's that little tidbit. That vehicle ends the VIN in 3044. I don't think that most of us doubt that Teresa's true vehicle is the one whose VIN ends in 3044 on record. That's the car she bought. Now, let's go straight over to that dang color. That VIN number belongs to color code 760, which is Mystic Teal Mica. It's not green, it's not blue, it's not earth brown, it is Mystic Teal Mica, number 760. Okay? So, there's plenty of talk and discussion out there about who said it's green and who said it's blue and all of this. Well, I'm going to share with you what we found out. Take it for what you will. When you go to a dealership and you purchase a vehicle, they're sitting there typing, filling out the information on your purchase contract. Part of that information is auto-populated into that contract when they input the VIN. Whether or not color was one of those auto-populated fields or not, we're not sure. I haven't talked to a Toyota dealership and asked them today if color is one that's filled in, but the color code is matched with the VIN. So, if you're sitting at a dealership, let's just use Teresa. She goes into Lemieux, she's buying this car. They input the VIN, which brings in the motor size and all these extra details about the car. We have talked to Toyota about what is associated with the VIN, and there are some real specifics. The model, style, the body, the chassis, those things are included and are auto-populated. If color was not one of those items that was auto-populated, then that's left to the dealership, whoever is typing that contract, to fill in a color, okay? We did confirm, and this is kind of a side note for a second, we did confirm that the DMV, even in 2005, had the word teal as a color option, had the DMV had to fill in a color. That green, blue, red, yellow, pink, purple, black, silver, gold. There's a huge list of colors. but they didn't get down to the very specific names of every dealership and every make and model of car. But teal was a color choice they had. Now, whether or not the dealership had the word teal or not, who knows? Whether they had a very limited list of colors that they had to choose from, or whether they typed in a color. We don't know. That is unknown. What we do know is that apparently the blank that was filled in for color when she bought that car from Lemieux was filled in the word green. Not dark green, not pea soup green, not dark green kind of, like Karen Halbach said. It was the word green. That information goes to the DMV electronically. We did confirm the information on purchasing a car from a dealership would go to the DMV on some kind of a transmission, and then the dealership had to follow that up with sending the documents to the DMV for it to be compared and verified before it was closed as solid information in their system. So it would be a natural assumption to say somebody at Lemieux put in the word green, the DMV got the color green from them. Okay? So that's one. So that's where green may have come in initially. All right. Now, this is aside from people viewing it and somebody saying it looks more green, somebody saying it looks more blue. I don't even care about all that. I'm just saying that's where the word green came from. Now, let's focus on something else, because this is a big misunderstanding, and you need to have correct information. If you're going to research this stuff or you're going to believe something, you need correct information, and there is incorrect information floating around. Okay? When Bob Lemieux spoke to an individual, and I know who it was, back when, and said Teresa's car was one color green. All right? It was all one color green. Bob Lemieux, if he pulled up those records, he would have said it's green. It's not green and black, or green and silver, or green and purple, or green and red, or anything else. It's green. All right? But the model car that Teresa Halbach bought, and you need to listen to this very carefully, because this came from Toyota. Nobody else from Toyota except for Toyota. All right? Nobody from the dealership. It's purely from Toyota. All right? The model car she bought, and every model created and manufactured that was a 1999 RAV, that same model came with whatever color the metal on the body was, which is the metal of the roof, and the sides, was one color. And every single one of those cars had that gray, dark grayish looking vinyl or plastic cladding. That's big looking stripe down the side of the car, goes around the bumper, all that. That's not considered part of the color code for that car. So when you say it's all one color, it is all one color. The metal is all one color. The cladding is a standard feature on that car, and it's gray, but it's not included in that color code. They didn't have another section for that to call it something, because it was a standard feature on every single car. Go to Google, go look up exactly the same model, and you'll find that's true. Now, what I want you to know is, when you bought the higher level model of the car that came with color matched cladding, door handles, mirrors, everything on it is all one color. That's a different color code, and it's very specifically stated. For example, Teresa's car is 760 Mystic Teal Mica. All right. If she had the upgraded model, that was the hoopty-doopty model, fancy model, and it was all one color, that code's not going to say 760, even if the whole car is Mystic Teal Mica. It's going to be some kind of a K something or some other. It'll have a letter first and then a number, because that denotes that everything on that car is color matched. That's how they did it. You don't have to believe me. Go to Toyota. They'll tell you. What do you think we found out when we researched? I actually put a video out to begin with thinking that Teresa's car was all one color. Oh my gosh, they got the wrong color. Who didn't notice this? Good Lord. Listen. There is just misinformation about it. You have to know what models were offered. I didn't do good enough research at the beginning and got it wrong. I went back and found out and then put another video out to correct it, because it is important to have the right information. If you're going to keep saying that it's this all one color car and you mean everything on it's one color, then that car sitting on Avery Salvage, we know already that's not Teresa's car, but that alone makes it not Teresa's car. I'm sorry, but I just don't think that the people who framed Stephen are that stupid. I really don't. I don't think they went and got a model car that is so obviously unlike Teresa's and tried to pass it off. I just don't believe it's true. If you do, you are welcome to believe that. But I will tell you, there's enough on that car that says it's the same model that Teresa's car actually was. The picture that the news shows got of that flyer that had that all solid looking green color car in it, the picture's too blurry to tell whether or not that cladding at the bottom is gray. I've worked with the photo, tried to clean it up a little bit, enough to see it. To me, it does appear like it is a different color, like it's the gray. And if you look at the mirror and you look at the door handles, they don't look to be the same color that's on the metal. That right there should be enough to tell you that it's not all green all over the entire car. If somebody wants to misinterpret the color teal to be solid green and some to say it's solid blue, I can't help you. All I can tell you is VIN ending in 3044 is teal. So here's the whole thing around the color. If you want to believe that Teresa Halbach's true RAV4 was green, there's a couple of people out that think it was the MP6 or something like that, or EP3 something, which was deep jewel green. If you want to believe that Teresa Halbach's car was that color code, then VIN ending 3044 is not even Teresa's VIN at all, nowhere near it. It's not the VIN, because Toyota says that VIN goes with color code 760. So when you are processing this information and when you are trying to figure out whether it's green or whether it's blue or whether it's somewhere in between, you need to go back to the facts. The fact is VIN ending 3044 is color code 760. If you don't want to accept that, don't. But then that's not Teresa's car. I'm not talking about the one on the salvage yard. I'm just talking about record-wise, VIN ending 3044 is color code 760. That's what Toyota says. If you don't believe that, then you cannot believe that 3044 is Teresa's VIN at all. And you better start from scratch, because that means you got nothing. So I just want you to know that it's not a matter of whether people are seeing it more green or more blue. Yes, photos can be manipulated to make it darker, lighter, what have you, in the sun, this and that. That can all be manipulated. But when it gets down to facts, and you get down to the VIN, and you get down to the color code, and you go back to Toyota, and you call and you have a dealership body department look it up on the Toyota system, yes, we did, then those two go together. And that's what her car was. And if you don't think the car on Avery Salvage is 760, you don't have to believe it. You can believe it's blue. You can believe it's whatever color you want to believe it is. But if Teresa bought 3044, it's teal, period. If Bob Lemieux said it's green, and if it's true that he pulled up the paperwork, because I know that it's been posted more than once that Bob checked the records. Maybe he did. Maybe he pulled up the records and said, there it is right there. It says green. So it was green. Okay? That's what the documents may say. They say it's green. The DMV record says green. Just remember that the list of colors that they had to choose from, if they had to choose green because it's the closest thing to what color it really was, or what color somebody perceived it to be when they walked out on the lot and took a look at it, that's a whole nother ball game than interpreting it other than what it really was, the way Toyota coded it. If you're gonna deal in facts, deal in facts. Don't pretend, and don't imply, and don't overshadow this case and the color issue with something somebody said when you can't back up that by the paperwork. Part of the research that Annie and I've done is making sure, and I've said this before, that we've cross-referenced, we've called numerous sources. We've tried to make sure that there is no other conflicting reports or sources, and the best source to go to is Toyota. I'm not going to go to Google and believe what some Joe Blow puts out on Google. I'm going to Toyota. I'm going to call Toyota. I'm going to look up toyotaglobal.com and pull down their sales guide and pull down their documents that go with their manufactured vehicles. That's what I'm going after. And if this doesn't match up to that, and we've got no reason to believe that it doesn't match up to that color, then I don't know what to tell you. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that every post that I see that's out there that keeps talking about Teresa's car being all one color green, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that's not misinformation, because it is misinformation. That's not true for that VIN number. And if that's not true for that VIN number, then that VIN number is not Teresa Halbach's VIN number, and we're at square zero. Just, it is what it is. It's either facts or it's not facts. Hearsay does not apply. What somebody said over here and what somebody says over here, and even Steven saying it was green. You've got to remember now, Steven's been sitting in prison for 19 years. For him to think, what exact color was that? He may call it green. Maybe it was green. But if it was green, then we've never seen Teresa Halbach's car. And I would honestly tell you, I truly believe if the car was all one color, the mirrors, the door handles, the cladding, if it was all the green, I truly believe that someone would have spoken up way back when, and this wouldn't have gotten this far. So, take it for what you will. That's information you need to know. Whether you believe it or not, I can't help. But I'm here to at least attempt to straighten out a little bit of the misinformation that has been provided. It is what it is, folks. It's not from me. It's from Toyota. Y'all have a good day.